unbearable weight. Punishment. Punishment now, more punishment. No, the more punishment understand. Church. And we are not really here. So 18 said, problem because one from one of our life. Sanity. They are much so. Oh, I'm never going to enter the village. I can't do that. God bless you. Faithful citizens, right? Ambassadors, thank you. Thank God. Okay, never Pt2, part 3. And I came to a mind. Now, maybe say, you but yet we must stress identity. In fact, with this church, what do you mean I say you knew? Ye but yet we must say, silence and answer, I can't say and answer, because there is nothing new here in this church. Don't you mention I think a Friday TV? Yatin Gay. A piano also the admin course, that's the whole thing. Now, you must say a head on your own. Now, all persons on the estimate. Now, at least I see anything or so. Say, as I say, one in and the year you're running any Christodia. Now, obeying verse 18, I say, and the nations were angry, and Amanaman woeful, and my wrath is come. Now, woeful, and the time of the day that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And so, I said, where we are a ọ̀pọ̀ fọlọ́ sọ̀nsọ̀n no ẹ̀hyẹ̀ ni ti ẹ̀dín kẹsẹ̀ di sọ̀tẹ̀ asase sọ̀n ní bi abẹ́yẹ kristu bíà ní tó asoɔ no na ɔde wie ní kɔtwene sɛ amanaman no ɛkɔ fu the nations were angry and by God is hand ɔnyakopɔ kɔkɔ soso ɛfo aso ɛbufo no na ɔka sɛ ɛyɛ ɛbrɛ a yɛde kɔ ɛwufoɔ no atɛn the time to judge the dead. Now pay a branch of fear at Asafono, and also you walk atɛn. I had the judgment of the dead and the judgment of the living in Yahoo. It's a company this has said that they are free to be part of another family. Daniel 8:13-14, ABA 18:44, the judgment our message. And you know, over Revelation 11, verse 15, 18:1, and you free as a free, maybe I free, sir. Amanamai ebufu ebrim, onyankopon ofu, atembo bremu, any right of person or person or meka yebiasi or person, abo any na, 18:44. Now. Yɛbɛyɛ bɛn kakra bɛpɛ sɛ yɛhwɛ onyankopɔn kufuo ɛhyɛaseɛ 1844 ɛno ne nea meka sɛ yɛnim nso asɛ de yɛwerɛ fi ɛfiri sɛ wohwɛ adisɛm ɛtimu 9 no a ɔbɔfɔ tɔ so mmiɛnsa no ɔno kaa sɛ sɛ ɔbɛboto aboa no ɛde hɔ ni na ɔgye n'ani ahyɛde ɛwɔ ne nsa nipa so anaasɛ ne mu aso anaasɛ ne bɛba so a sɛ nipa no ɛna ɔbɛnu onyankopɔn kufuo a wɔhwie mu ne kuwa mu gyinagyina a yɛmfrɛ mu right the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God which is poured out without mixture. But everyone here has a case to play. The wrath of God without mixture. Onyankopɔn kufuo a yɛmfrɛ mu and look at the natural state of the before I have friend. Anybody a young friend, you come to that. Revelation 15:1. Now, Mehu and Sanchani, So I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 parts. What were they? Thank you. In fact, every word in the Bible has a bearing. Yet kind of as if you have to be out of India. 7 last place, one qualified place with the word last. Fine. Sad last no a key here. And it's not making answer. Just to yes, or share a thing go to my say. What they body check, not the train. I was assessed. And that was why the position, just to be free, the Timothy Moya will be free when we. So we are answering our fear the last is and to occur some last the benefit of what the best here. And it said, I saw the 4 angels. What the 4 angels looked at for having coronation ceremony, holding the 4 wings until Jesus' work was done in the sanctuary. And then will come the 7 last place. Who's wrong? It is a Christ to be in the Juma. And a humble slab. A cut to our mountains on and a back. So we have a mind. And you and I want to walk around and you have a Bible is here. Ocean and this a table sent over one. Or Yamu or friend the round of God, Yamu over excellent success. Or friend of Yamu the judgment of God. Over Exodus 9:13-14, over the place how. Then you have the pro. And remember said interchange and the assassin. 18 or Yamu food, or Yamu temple, or Yamu how. Then I have the pro. It's a matter of whether I need your trip on a Casa, or person, or the Casa. Fine. And I mean, she was said. Sad a move away. Ye walk baby, a honor, a true one, now on friend, they move for a pound roll, and no which number ye. Now, for ever grew up at Lucy. Now, I shall say, a body of friend, because they are friend one, it said, Bobo and friend. Say, ye Bobo free swab, I bet 2 near Bobo and the last. I said, dear, why it's here and work you. Now, middle name in the Yakam Abu Wasi, now when we are in Epis, a bini, or my man was out of mine. And then I found a fact of this one. When years were my passy, my body of milk. Some and I go quality. And I just said, dear, or still one of your friend. And we have another year by the only friend. And the person is simple. Now, somebody we said, I can't say the important things as one and other things about us. 1. When I'm hopeful, who am ever? You bet you see the last. And the last one, a horrible mess. I cannot a comma or one, a better one, not any dance again. Said, if you have a person for Santa be not to be the human. One man, and that's what that was at a soon, or this shed of Hobo. I don't need now, the position to go. You have been now, I'm going to go and only go be as a I feel yet kind of all the judgments upon men prior to the close of probation have been mingled with what? Mercy. When let's look at mercy. And what Bible said, the bleeding blood of Christ has shielded the sinner from receiving the full measure of his guilt. But in the final judgment, wrath is poured out unmixed with mercy. As my name. But simple. And you know, Christ will pour out on the Nimoja empty. The boy in the night Bonia, or any of Asiano, the Busi Asia, or maybe. But I don't flow set by waiting as a family. Say, I don't know, Mamma, the Busi, say yes, you hear the woman of the others about poor home. And not the woman share when I go before and the money. And the battle getting the body. And we are one key. The second one. Yeah, Revelation 16, wonderful relations, and this letter messages. Leading on the NDA. Ocean 16:1. Or say, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of God upon the earth. Don't come up high. I'm going to go for every assassination. Way 16:1. I pray you that the prophecy. Also then, already sprinkling from the bells of God, as I say, and what was so it was as this. The incarnate of God, your mother, and I'm hopeful, and I'm not probably by me change. 18 man, I was sent a DBA and no question from the desire. Send I'm a man or whom we are in fever. But you are probably the yellow send the pride in the year so. God has not restrained the powers of darkness from carrying forward their deadly work of initiating the air, one of the sources of life and nutrition, with a deadly miasma. When I won't see a Belivona will be so open. And I said, oh, see over one open. Sema or more, yea, was as so only I never go from and was open. Or me. Not only is vegetable life affected, but man suffers from pestilences, cholera, and unexplainable diseases are broken out. And you know, as you know, all the need high you are or better. There are no power of the Essayade, a boom. Now, the cholera, or the man, it is good. And the diphtheria. Diphtheria no be said now on the suppose I would watch the one many necessary. That's what we saw. I said, you were many times to your own way. Diphtheria, a yellow beer, a yellow set attack action. And then I will bring out. Would that would never only as a crack. Oh, Mumia and Sisu, we are the tears of money. A area I will feel on to go from him. And it will be 19 with us my God. Or German say, I'm going to someone some desire in the woman. Or try to say, ready desire and ready to a limited extent is gathering its harvest of precious minerals. And seems to be almost uncontrollable. Or is this bacteria? There's a full control in it. Second, by I want to do the I want to only copy by variants. And you know, in a problem, and in such a book, everybody as well. Because these things are the results of drops from the vials of God's wrath being sprinkled on the earth and are by faith representation of what will be in the near future. Simple. A desire moment, able to Ababono people pro ye people nyano. E ko fu. E trese Kristo odaso eye netuma. E na me trese asede asafono ye ntwo. Ye kanse Kristo be pi na wo hwie ekufo ma ene frem egu ha ni ye ni trese so. Na mo ye edi kan ye ga kakra ya bi ko. Eno ni Biblia ni ha. Judgment, wrath, place, judgment. Israel vessel, but Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand on Egypt and bring forth my armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. And we are Exodus 24. I pay again from the Spirit of God. I say that already the judgments of God are abroad in the land. Unseen in storms, floods, tempests, in earthquakes, and by sea. Not in earthquakes, in peril by land and by sea. In the same now, the judgments of God. I must say, the great I am is speaking to those who make God his Lord. In Tomo na Cobra, Napo all the day. Storm, tree, can say. A wound, then floods, disobedient. Next, tempest, as watching, right? Next, earthquakes, as also. Terror by land, near my ewu, and by sea. And I will put the Catholic one or more to the brand. And General said, Osoto the little green and book, next everyone, a climate change. Bible and I one day at the room. And I never said, if it is in a member. Okay. The place of Egypt, no, the place upon Egypt, and off. The place upon Egypt, when God was empowered to deliver Israel, were similar in character to those more terrible and extensive judgments which are to fall upon the world just before the final deliverance of God's people. And it can be seen Israel. Now, this year, I will buy ABC in Jehovah and Son and Christopher and Denmark. They see Israel, the saying, and Moses stretched forth his rod toward heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail and fire, ran along upon the ground, and the Lord rained hail upon the land of Egypt. Now, on my neck of his room, on my prayer of the womb, and I'm in hail in the right? Then the next one, and then fire, Oja every room, every assassin. So I was dream assassin. So, over verse 24, also there was hail and fire mingled with. There was hail and fire mingled with the hail, very great, such as there was none, like it in all the land of Egypt, since it became a nation. That's a deep sea is little, it means that. I mean, you have your for or help will be answered. Revelation 16:8. Or we have also your offer or help. See what happened. Ɔsɛ na ɔbɔfo no so na no ehwie ne buwa no oku owia so na yɛ ma na bɔde sɛ ɔmfa owia no ɛnhyɛ ne ba so ja Bible ne kasa no ɛnti ka bi de wei my best.
Now to the breaking news out of California, where firefighters are battling hundreds of new wildfires. The fast-moving flames forcing entire towns to evacuate, and now the fires have turned deadly.
This morning, fear and devastation across California.
We've been through a lot of fires in this area. Nothing like this.
It was like the entire wall of the forest was just coming at us down the road.
I looked up and the back of my house was on fire.
Also said, this is a lightning strike start new fires in California. Often in climate change. It was called by climate change. no problem. Or not say climate change that a real assassin. It too. And was it a nipa and a real assassin. And it's not a jam. A fear as she must have. Now, California, the Casano, over US, state at a kind and they same-sex marriage, LGBT, agent for America, every California. Almost here, no come. About sharing the climate change, right? Oh, but I see on your phone. A video, a day, they are when I go with you. Several actually said, a year, Leviticus at 20, verses 13. Most of them also means I did with the good news. I said, Bible Catherine said, or very much.
Hundreds of wildfire.
Yes. Or very much, or then you go very much with that, and my won't get you high in Swat here. Whom let you walk. Now, what can you do to this? Where you are. And then I then like I then to buy say young man advance me worry and then also worry about or back of me and better free your financial never to hear we at the bank sorry right Emma and then say one sorry is I know my yes we get discrimination we get in now, the program of TV is where we are into. They have a commercial power in a second. Say, for one force, Australia will US in Nara, and only you. Said, yet translated to me. I can't SDA. I mean, no way. Now, they can't record about TV, and you cannot contest it. Young son, SDA, body PT, America, India, say. It's also not a and the more country America mind any as said, yeah, sorry, no, that we are a age. Oh, back in Bissau said, when you didn't want to find out, if Bissau or else over, you say about having class rate now. And to Mobia, as sorry, no, yeah, too. You will get kind of school and divine service. Sabbath school will clear me to be back. Divine service also will be able to be tea. And you know, the Australian iron said, Sabbath school, I have family identity near boys at the end as a bar. And Sabbath school, or ye or bow or bow or whatever it is, Australian. Now, all person can pass on here, yet you do that for fire and for GT. I don't listen. What actually answer I don't so in as a mobile. But not as one day one. One answer go. We are going to say, yes, now, percent who can ask for no use of the SDA and the woman in working 2 and 3 hours. There no your man who are there and to one man, one wife, one husband. And who can say America by say America constitution. Oh, person play American. This is the only constitution also. And some I want to say we are American citizen. And now we can say this. Samson I ask you, there's a constitution. This whole person play as a back. You near man get trained to only 2 1. You go to that back. Only 2 1. As only about transit. Simple. How many more we need? It's only way one is so American. That energy. Young some way, and until that can empty. Oh, we will go to our knows. Method is for 2 verse 1. And we said, the method is also you cannot read the first one and the second one and go down. Only now, for 2 hours, we learn here. Yeah, we are proper. The committee, the one by every, and Command Finance and everyone. Who is close? That's all. And you know, some normal and what to swap, they can already TV those days. You're going to go to say, any courses. And the course of royalty, I want to say, and then you're going to Probably I say 17, Yapon. One of them all friend must say, you will be like the one who go on matter. And someone was in the crowd. Said, you can say, method is about to about our game and Sunday morning and was in swallow. Even though I said, oh, or back in January, and we you see, it's what we all right, but about to go on their own. And then I go on aside. Now, what was what? One of the talk as I am, answer 8 million, we said, if I met deciding, and some, I want to ask. I want to reach the animal council. 3 years later, I want to do what I thank you. They say, look at the guy who said, and my wife, I've been a kind of comment this, and them say, now, we have them, and I and you know, never to say a good food. And the man can wear or pass. And the girl, my pastor, and good sir. My pastor said.
Across Western Europe are showing signs of easing on Wednesday, but the threat caused by wildfires isn't. More than 30 fires are still raging in Spain, Portugal, France and Greece. In the UK, the number of blazes has surged after temperatures topped 40 Celsius for the first time ever here. SDA Bashiri reports.
This is what the hottest day on record looks like in the UK, as the country hit 40 degrees Celsius for the very first time. You can see here, farmers in South Yorkshire try to plough fire breaks to protect their land. The grass fires spread to homes as well, like these ones in East London, in Wellington, where about 100 firefighters tried to battle the flames as they spread quickly from house to house.
He went from the first house, and then within a couple of minutes, he jumped the second house, and then it started burning through the back gardens. So after we had the fire, we actually then started moving all like the gas cans and all that, because we thought, oh, they're going to contain it, and then even within about 15 minutes, both houses were completely up. Then it carried on spreading to the next door house.
Temperatures peaked on Tuesday, meaning cooler temperatures ahead. But the UK isn't used to these sorts of scenes.
A couple of minutes. I checked out 2 minutes. Now she's not going to the house. Next door. And then they come to Spain, Greece, Portugal, France. Says here. And the movie and the Apostles Island. We are at our almost 6 years ago. Over the climate change. Bible friendly. The
scale of the devastation caused by flooding in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa after heavy rains has made it difficult for provincial authorities to rescue affected families at Swat, DIR, and Chitral Hill stations. A video of a large house being washed away by the flood shows the damage caused by the rain, with many other houses such as damaged or washed away, in addition to road damage, and hundreds of lives lost. In the video, people can be seen screaming, Astaghfirullah, Allahu Akbar, as the building collapses within seconds of being hit. A flood emergency has been imposed in Swat and Charsada as floodwaters entered homes, including the historic Kalam Mosque. On Friday, according to the district government, the road between Bahrain and Madin in Swat was swept away by flooding, which caused the road to be closed to traffic. According to Toll Road police spokesman, Swat Toll Road has been partially blocked in Palai area due to landslides. Traffic from Islamabad to Peshawar is diverted via Palai Junction, and traffic coming from Swat is blocked at Chakdara. The water discharge in Kiali on the Swat River can exceed 2 lakh cusecs. In Nar, Charsada, measures have been taken to avoid flood damage. Floodwater began to enter the lowlands, which submerged 500 houses in the Shahi Kalali area. The havoc wrought by the incessant wet weather also prompted the Minister of Primary and Secondary Education Sharam Khan Tarakai to announce the closure of schools in 7 districts for 2 to 10 days. The Provincial Disaster Management Authority confirmed the deaths of 9 people and the injuries of 6 in Lower DIR. Gunner, Lower Kohistan, Laki Marwat, and North Waziristan districts.
say, and I'm going to go for a good wedding every you need to know when was so long as I'm so much at 20
The Wija Bawe Municipal Assembly has begun the demolition of structures built on waterways. The Assembly says permanent structures built on waterways will also not be spared in the second phase of the demolition exercise.
We almost said again Asia. Asia said, "Yen communication that will continue with a more hammer every day. But probably some don't power." We said, "I am Asia. Yen Asia. It's the
Greece's biggest island, Greek Hebrew powerful storm. Storm causing flooding of houses, roads, and trapping people inside cars. At least 15 cars have been seen floating in the sea of the Cape.
For several weeks now, there has been reports of flooding in different parts of Nigeria, especially in states like Kogi, Taraba, Adamawa, Anambra, Nasarawa, Benue, and Delta states. The last time the country experienced something like this was in 2012. But the question is, what measures was put in place or is being put in place to ensure that something like this never occur again? This is Umezanam, in Anambra West Government area of Anambra State, on a normal rainy season. German authorities have issued.
Australia continues to suffer from severe weather. On the afternoon of August 31st, parts of Melbourne were hit with severe storms, rain and hail.
A massive hailstorm hit Spain on August 30th. In the town of Lovisburg, reported in the province of Girona, the size of the hailstones was about 10 centimeters. According to the Meteorological Service,
and was saying, I want to tell you another thing. The values of God's wrath and the strengthening of them are already coming. One is the matter that we do not discern it. It is because the light of truth does not affect the heart. The Spirit of God is being withdrawn from the world. Simple. And you know, everyone I see, as you know, or man we are saying warning. And you say, as you will, and yet, and my accommodation, I go or Shumayas or body for simple. Sir, and when a communication passing upon a factory, something I said, what is the matter that we will not be sent? And they tell them what they say. Here, one that says, see the sun. The sun, the idea of it, and doing better. They do. And also, it is because the light of truth. They said, look at all men and come. Say, the better than a home, every one take your assassination. Also, you hear of calamities by land and by sea. And they are constantly increasing. What is the matter? Yet, he said, at the end, they said, now, a cotton painting, or say, the Spirit of God is taken away from those who have the light of men in their hands. When I go every part of or you from so. And Satan is coming in to control them because they give themselves to his control. And the people as I say, so I don't want to if you also. I was an upper for one happy or more anywhere, a very boutique or a Cassandra actually. And in the car put your dream. Now a free last year, November, December. Now also swap a Ponyama drink water so. A bizarre also a training exercise. A very January 2022, a bizarre also a military exercise. And my favorite phrase, no pussy. So there's a walk artillery or the weapons there for go. 24th February this year, and a fire in Ukraine, 2 bomb, a boom, and AC. Now, in 2001, a round was a crash in New York, and America said the sun of the rain. We are still at Iraq, and in Afghanistan, including Pakistan, Yaku for 10 years, in search of Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. The voice of Obama being or something like that. In those days, over 10 years, no, Petro anchor so my man see. When only Putin and Ukraine, what's the yes, say our Penny Casa or the current government, and Casa no say Ukraine proper any COVID, and Ghana, other parties so there be, and I said that I need Ukraine and COVID, no problem. That is not for you. Britain for I'm the latest one, the character of this one, Rishi Sunak. The very first day of Okochia in charge, now the Obasa Obama speak for the first time, Opinano or sick COVID-19 and Ukraine are high. And I'm going to consider politics. Right? And the end is the question. But Britain one part of Castle, Ukraine or a house Castle. They said, I'm going to open. I was asking. And one. Guess one. Then I put here. Then there's a one in France 24. My dad will be 75 years. All that also. Ukraine about 75 years. Russia, so they now granted the axis out of the Arab 75 years. American was not quite What over there? Of the all kinds of moves. Continue, I can imagine how good I could as an able for one of any two man. I am good man, 75 years old. And then the was 7 years. And to look at the number one, and feel where they get being in one side of the event, the own size, originally. Yes. And the better now, how it said, and the real assassin. And yes, madam, the woman, assuming that as I say, a boy as simple. Sometimes it's very very also me, Papa, we don't see Israel said, or your point is, I said, to the room there, then, oh, man, or woman. So, what was the or say, the Spirit of God is being taken away from those who have the life of men in their hands, and Satan is coming in to control them because they give themselves to his control. Progression time will not continue much longer. Or say, enter, now, God is withdrawing his restraining hand from the earth. But so with the English, restraining yet, that's how it is. Yes. And it will now put the someone body see for the plan. They said that and long has he been speaking to you, long has he been speaking to men and women through the agency of his Holy Spirit. But they have not heeded the call. So the next, also now, he is speaking to his people and to the world by what? His garments. And in Amano Padoti, when I move on a Matemosu, and a such name my name and Yape, we are saying. And you know, no one is saying, I get the sign of actually because we are decoding the wrath of God. We need to decode it. And you know, at the same time, on Cassandra as a Christo or the King, as simple as that. Every hour. Fine. They are running and they are not going to background. Now, over practice yes, Psalm 103, no, Psalm 107 and the better before. Therefore, Bible said, see how he turned rivers into a wilderness, right? And the water springs into dry ground, and fruitful land into barrenness, for the wickedness of them that want the rain. But near a deeper angel of assassin, or Sikonapo of Assasia and Man of Ayado, or Napo Danino, Manibay Assasia, 18 swapper. I pay, I was sick or that in so training in so what my own young assassin brother. Simple. When this year, we have to plan the climate change.
Europe is in the group of its most extreme drought in decades. Record-breaking heat waves linked to climate change have dried up rivers across the continent and sent water reserves plummeting to historic lows. Scientists have warned that scorching summers and drier winters will likely become the new normal due to human-induced global warming.
Europe's rivers are disappearing. Italy's Po is yet another casualty of the severe drought gripping much of the continent. The river would normally be teeming with tourists. Instead, its drying bed is littered with empty boats. Those living near Italy's longest river say the situation is unprecedented.
I'm young and I do not remember anything like this, but even the elderly of my village and the villages around here have never.
Oh, you're right. I say I'm young. This is when you was old, you be saying that. Well, all come to the climate change. In the same number one day, I go fool. Climate change. And you know, I never climate change as a year. Climate change will be necessary. And to make my points. 1 Kings 17, and Elijah put on him and the book and say, you are Cassie, you show any person, any person, as he said, and I'm not asking so. Yes, I can. Then you search and say, every remember what you are asking so. And then I can change. It's as simple as that. Now, who put the end of one? And if I'm just saying, oh, Mutino, or say climate change, the whole France. France, the building in an issue on the issue. You should not get the one. And also, Nipa only, and also the Diana or
Up and down the mighty Mississippi, America's largest river is in trouble. It's dried up. What used to be the bottom of the river, now massive sand dunes.
Drought. We're seeing a lot less precipitation, and that's what we're going to see with climate change.
The water levels are dropping to record lows near Memphis, more than 10 feet below where it should be. The mega drought gripping the U.S. is expanding. Now 59% of the country is in some level of drought. It's getting worse, mostly in the Great Plains and Midwest, increasing there by 60,000 square miles, roughly the size of Georgia. It covers almost all of the Mississippi River's tributaries.
We have many rivers throughout the country, some in the Southwest in particular, that are running very low, if not.
Mississippi, and I will also yes. Then I'm going to
This is the Yangtze, the world's third largest river, the most vital waterway to China's economy. It provides drinking water to over 400 million Chinese citizens. But this summer, the supplies are running low. The Yangtze has been reduced to puddles, with dozens of its tributaries drying up. This is the result of a record-breaking drought, the scale of which can be gauged by the appearance of this 600-year-old Buddhist catchment.
Chinese country, I feel much of the Bible says, bondage and over the issue. By essence, I want to do climate change as a one of the languages of the climate. Who now says that you're right? Yeah, or when says that you have a bigger. Say that it is like a president, and you can wait, like I said, the idea, and the yes, for example. Yes, China. What's the meaning? Right? I then I wish to discuss it. Then by the many questions that I should have now. No reason. I've been and then I will be. But in I also need to 7 liters. Not just in Junasia, a better opportunity. I demand for 10 days, no one meter, 7 meters also 7 meters. Essentials. Right? In Spain.
A centuries-old church and a huge megalithic complex are among the underwater monuments that have resurfaced in Spain. And this has happened after a severe drought has caused water levels in reservoirs to plunge. Our next report, getting to the complete story. Take a look.
Climate change has left parts of the Iberian Peninsula at their driest in 1200 years, and winter rains are expected to diminish further. According to the Environment Ministry's figures for August, after a prolonged dry spell, Spain's reservoirs, which supply water to cities and farms, are at just under 36% capacity. The receding waters have exposed the ruins of an
I found that way, I found that it's insane. And then been so, but we have been. Every business appeal to our finances will entire been. Said we be there also. What did I walk? I don't think I walk. Yes, all the time. The Lord is speaking. And he said, when God just said, "Hey, I'm going to go for every morning." When God I don't every morning. Spain, right?
A centuries old.
Hard to believe this is the bed of one of the largest reservoirs in southern Spain. This jetty was floating and the pedal boats were being used right at this spot less than a year ago. But now parts of the Venezuela reservoir are bone dry and getting drier, and it's operating at only around 12% of its capacity. Look at the state of this earth. The cracks are so deep. The levels are dropping at a terrifying rate. All of this was once underwater. And the environmentalists say it's not just climate change that's a problem, it's water mismanagement.
Climate change. All I say I have money. Climate change. Every second, the one year post here, Puna, send your plan was 727, 7 million. You go with the airport massive. Now, as I brought again, I can 1 year. I see you now, and you should not be also to if you was. Yeah, money, yeah, I said, my yes, Spain, or can we? Or what I have for it will go and say, you're not back at home. Now you go or soon as I say to anyone, what to do climate change. Most of us have I said, what did we in? Then I'm going to go. We said the living God. Amen. And the woman in I put next time I open our day and also the UCATC. Revelation 16. I will say, all of us who stand every year, who are able to continue to now every year. Every year was in a combine and a year by Emma and a free employee. Now, I want to say you are opinions and start concerning any free or Casiero or someone. The room. Any about any Rome. Any after the Room. America, as well after that, and sending me. I say, oh, Fina, every one person you drink this beer. I will feel every one person. What's it except concerning frog? Concerning was so by say a timid time as I say so, extra and so by a opinion. You can't climate change and one is on the environment. No man was as I say so, and no man owns you, and one. Sarasami, and Lona for France, dinner so, now pay what they. And no man, I'm a Panamanican. This was saying, and no one almost every day of one, we are saying, and so I go now. I'm going to go, like I said, and so. And you know, a branch is your every any affiliate Mamma is in them, and Uncle Francis or Fred Mitty. Make no afraid. I go on, go Uncle Bro, and then. Soon one and the Buddha the go into Bia and two committee faith and science. Or be a flying what's happening. Said, dear Abraham, who may never be able to share that. I don't need any and they meeting says last year.
The world is called to achieve net zero carbon emissions as soon as possible, with wealthier countries taking the lead in reducing their own emissions and in financing emission reductions from poorer nations. All governments must adopt a trajectory that will limit the global average temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. We beg those nations with the greatest responsibility and present capacity to provide substantial financial support to vulnerable countries and to agree new targets to enable them to become climate resilient and to adapt to and to address climate change. The rights of indigenous peoples and local communities must be given special attention.
Women now, as a result of climate change,
to favor transition to clean energy, adopt sustainable land use practices, transform food systems to become environmentally friendly and respectful.
Climate change. And what's happening? And to avoid the said climate change, the real mass society. More than 5 million. I mean, almost all of that. What's that? When I last see, and the only you play, and I'll be a department.
Thank you, Your Holiness, and we shall read your words. And thank you for accompanying us on this journey. The appeal, signed by the religious leaders, is now presented by the Holy Father to Alok Sharma, President of COP26, and to Luigi Di Maio, Italian Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
I don't need to know what I see. All the twice watch that. On Sunday, arrival day, better than 7 p.m. at 1. And you know, some people are going to go there, or China may pay you with $10,000 or I can't get all pop away. Some of the young one, I do not was. Then when comes actually said, addresses on the yard, he knew his own. This is a whole break and super said, a break and some yet. Open by it here again. Let's go. And no, when I go for I don't think the Omoya body and our body and the Witcher. I said to her, which name is up, a go and go. Then maybe we'll be last one. I said, Mr. You're back now, one let's see. What is happening? Thank you. No question. Carol. Thank you. And I remember and to weigh personal observation. And because of the introductions, sir, I will say, I'm not a place of my anyone. The patrol, I put a book in the Bible, and quotation being the Bible, which me up what one up kind access say that one person here, I don't give another say, which you forget it. Good now. It's a healing. The only Christo can say, a woman is here, even the lady, and person. And I have all of events, any times. Now, any time and events. What do you say time we are doing this? Can I didn't see a eventually about. The time there you are eventually about. Don't you think I said what and I said on the 10th December, I did with this. What do I intro? Now, I didn't this year. Eventually, the kind of mind and then. For example, Luke 1:28. Or see, and when those things begin to come to pass, then Saturday. Saturday shall say Maya and how we so prepare Israel ABC. And we have to know what 24. So likewise, when ye shall say those things, no, let us say, on the set, a group around. It's your enemy and said, every set about. And when the war signs of the times of October 1, 1994, or say, God will have us study the events that are taking place around us and compare them with the predictions of His Word in order that we may understand that we are living in the last days. Onyankopɔn hwehwɛ sɛ ɛnwoma no a ɛsisi mu yɛnsua na yɛmfa ntoto deɛ nkɔmhyɛ aka no ne yɛhu baabi a yɛduro simple ɛyɛ sɛ yɛbɛwo Yesu ɔse Isaiah 7:14 ɔse Awurade nankasa bɛma mo nsɛnkyerɛnne for the Lord himself yɛ sɛ waka no Awurade nankasa bɛma mo nsɛnkyerɛnne ɛne sɛn ɔse ɔbaa bi bɛni nsɛn ɔbaa a ɔnwaree da ɔbaa a ɔbɔ barima da ɔbɛni nsɛn na ɔne nsɛn a ɔbɛbɔ barima ɔwɔ saa deɛ ma ɛfiri Awurade bisɛ Onyankopɔn ɔbɔ yɛn ɔse ɔbaa ne barima na ɔbɔ wɔn no ɛna ohyira wɔn sɛ ɔwɔ na ɔnya asase so ma saa de watwere no enti na ɔmaa kwan sɛ ɔbaa kwan tena se na ɔno anyɛ nsɛn ne wɔn ɛnsi ka ɛnyɛ Nyankopɔn yɛ ɔde bɛ nipa ɛduru Yesu deɛ no so no ɔse ɛno no Awurade nankasa bɛyɛ dɛn bɛma yɛ nsɛnkyerɛnne ɛno nti sɛ ɔwɔ Israel saa berɛ na sɛ wɔte sɛ abaayewa bi ane nsɛn a ɔnware yɛnni ɔne bɛma bi na ɛda na wate sɛ saa ne nsɛn no aba ma wɔ bɛma ɛnti wobɛka sɛ mankɔ sukuu nti no ɔba ne nsɛn a wohu let me ask you one goes to the so after the desire so now one goes into the room simple and you know at one we have
extreme heat
a patrol and just to ourselves now when the two homes set there will be a little now it's this one see my name.
The extreme heat and weather events here and around the globe, climate change is also having a measurable impact on a much slower moving development, the loss of glaciers and the melting of the ice. Science correspondent Miles O'Brien has been chronicling one scientist's quest to track what's happening with one of the most important glaciers. Here's his latest update.
It was like a scene from Star Wars when climate scientist David Holland finally made it to ground zero.
Just absolute insane fun, and I actually thought I was going to die. We flew the helicopter through those crevasses.
These ice canyons are in the Thwaites Glacier in Antarctica. It's the so-called Doomsday Glacier, and you are seeing it in its death throes, as close as anyone ever has.
This is perhaps the most important glacier in the world in terms of its potential impact this century.
The size of Florida, Thwaites stores enough water to increase.
And then the become not to pray. I'm not to be a slow, set or cable so slow to go up. And I said, why?
Some scenes from his epic voyage. Year after year, he risks his life here and in the Arctic.
You're okay, if you need to smile. SDA never could have been a patrol in Philadelphia. Christ Power, Luke 21:25, TV. Said that there shall be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with adversity, the sea and the wave roaring. What is this? I will say men's hearts, filling them with fear, and those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And here Luke 21, 25, 26. And I want you to say, we need now to take heed to ourselves. Warnings have been given. Can we not see the fulfillment of the predictions made by Christ and are recorded in the 21st chapter of Luke? How many are studying the words of Christ? Shall the warnings given by Christ be passed by unheeded? Shall we not make diligent work for repentance now, while Mrs. Precious voice is still heard? Pacho, or say, encouragement and yes, you can look into one ACC. And you know, you and I am trying to say a prayer at Santa Woman Tente. Anything, Luke 125. And Santa Louis, Ovianum, or Saminum, and Santa Louis, Ovianum 1, or Saminum 2, and this one. Now, I'm not going to say so. I know you look at 125 from the spirit of prophecy. Or say, there's and the sea and the waves roaring. Psalm 17 said, yes, they shall pass their borders, and destruction will be in their tracks. And it's 3 4:7. So, Obanse, a Pubeka this year, a patrol, my children are ready. On the whole, I did a little or for never be being and suddenly by ever, maybe do what in my last. Bible church said, a true said, I go home, but I won't say and so what I soon now already never far. And assassin P, it is soon a go back on and friend apple. That Genesis 1:29. Simple. Now, I am the son and Isaiah. Job 38:30. And Jeremiah 5:2. Only at the home, a Messiah said, a woman and a go back. Or the normal self at 3 upon and after the tip surprise at the wall, Job 38:30. Now, I'm way, or any Serbian, and a promo, oh, well, was one way to see you will even be able to tell you where you were there. I support is so key, and on kind of last year. And on anyone, or day and page out, they want to go why. Then, number 2. Jeremiah said, when you go home, when the idea up to a banana issue, said, as a children boss and drama and manage something like this. I had a book and put money out. Way now, Jeremiah interested. I put on the people I mean so. Now go on and share Amana. Say a people one or a free and aggression. And I used to catch and say all the time. And one a basis as a son. The capital a 7 panish. Say a people have nothing a process boundary no. And said the Tamas. The issue for the man, good. Now, ACC, he said the science
Climate change is something that affects all of our lives, whether we're a student, a teacher, or a scientist. Speaking of scientists, I have a guest here with me today that can tell us a lot more about climate change, Josh Willis. Now, you're an oceanographer here at JPL, correct?
Well, I'm an oceanographer, but I study sea level rise and global warming and really how the ocean fits into that whole global warming picture. Global warming is happening because people are emitting billions of tons of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Now, when they get there, these greenhouse gases cause extra heat to be trapped on the Earth. So heat that would have otherwise been radiated back out into space is now sticking around and warming up our planet.
Now, all that heat is trapped in our atmosphere, but is it also affecting the oceans?
It turns out that 80 to 90% of the heat from global warming is actually going into the oceans. So the oceans are really the big Earth heat bucket. That's where all the heat winds up going. It turns out that the oceans can absorb 1,000 times the amount of heat as the atmosphere without really changing their temperature all that much. And the reason is because of something called heat capacity.
Do you have an example that could maybe explain heat capacity?
Let's imagine that this balloon represents the whole Earth's atmosphere. So now my candle, my little lighter here represents the sun, so let's add some heat to it and see what happens.
Now don't try this at home without adult supervision and proper safety equipment. Whoa. So obviously the heat capacity of air is very low because it didn't absorb any heat at all.
Well, that's right. Almost as soon as we put the candle to the balloon, it exploded. And the reason is because since the air inside the balloon couldn't really absorb the heat that fast, all the heat went toward melting the rubber. As soon as the rubber melted, the balloon explodes.
Ah, okay, cool. Now that's a good demonstration of the heat capacity of air. How about the heat capacity of water, the oceans?
Yeah, let's do the oceans. How about a water balloon?
Sounds great.
All right, Steve, so this balloon filled with water represents the oceans, and my lighter here represents the sun. Let's put some heat on it and see what happens.
Wow.
After you have I said balloon did come back there red. And no, and show you. And say, what they can at the time, and I'm not just what did at the time at the pie. And no one did come on my young Yasia, and won't come. To go over and walk a credit, yes, person. Now, a pioneer to yes, yes. And I wanted apple to Oyana apple workers. And to know apple one. And to Oyana more than it. A man or so and pay the breed that was assassin. And the apple or so and person to a sooner apple a person. And when an elma I smart a work person and I mean, we are climate change. I was saying about Kennedy. Yet himself now or what for any or head will be out. What I said, and then you say yes to the bass, half of all not go to me. Now, a what day? Now, what for all okay, so I was so or be able to complicate. Now, go three eyes no. And to go three eyes no. What next? Emma, the big fingers. Si è manipa umia, questa è mia, è la massa non lo indica. Se vuoi, sa? E non se per non dare namo, è un cui. Ieri ho saputo che
Southern neighbor, the Gulf of Guinea. DW reporter Isaac Kaleji visited one part of Ghana's Volta region that may soon be gone.
Bare bones of the palm trees on the shoreline show the last remnants of a village under siege from the sea. Fuveme in Ghana's Volta region could soon disappear forever. Last November, the ocean waves crashed into this community, washing away homes and livelihoods. Floods displaced hundreds of people. Many families are still homeless. Knowledge Dawanu was forced to flee by the rising water. He's back in the house where he grew up, the place that was his home for decades. Dawanu was driven from his four walls by the waves that swept through the village. Still traumatized, he is pleading with the government for help.
Concerning the tidal waves, I may say this started about some years ago. But was surprised about 10 years ago, it surfaced again. Started from Kita to Keji, even to nearby Agaboni area where you can see the end of the defense. From here to where the lab house is about 500 meters away. houses have been broken by the tidal waves, and it is eating into the land small, until it reaches my house here. You know, and the houses have been broken down. The debris is under the sea. You can see our canoes. We're supposed to be on the sea. They need to encounter with the debris, the broken houses in the sea, the iron walls, everything, and the net will be torn into pieces. The net will tell you for sure that we are entering March. Into April, you can't hear, you won't see any house again anymore. That's my promise to you.
Said man was it a better this year. Ghana have you one answer. We will get the last time, and they said, Christo, on a council, American year. Said Ghana and the beer, the better said, yeah, and then so we don't know or did you so much. Say, yeah. And you know, when you a brand or this soya, a brewery. And John also was a witness of the terrible things that will take place as signs of Christ's coming. I see the only way essentially a church Christo Mayen over there. He saw and is mastering for battle, and people's hearts filling them for fear. And how you look into 1:5 and 1:6 on. Or see, he saw the earth move out of its place. The mountains carried into the midst of the sea, the waves thereof roaring and troubled. He saw the valleys of wrath opened, and pestilence and famine and death come upon the inhabitants of this earth. You want to go for set a fear was as so a contradiction. Yare a bomb, then you have a book in the park, a bomb assassin so. And also, this selling of the servants of God is the same that was shown to Ezekiel in vision. John also had been a witness of this most having revelation. In the midst of the sea, which is literally taking place. Or see the water thereof roaring and trouble, and mountains shaking with the swelling thereof. He was shown place, pestilence, famine, and death performing their terrible mission. Sanity. And you know, a brand, a kind of shit, a come, me and a person, you want to say, or one, or what of 18:1, or one of the effort, sadly. We say you troop and so no brain, set a poet tradition. Now you troop a brand when you go 81 to 1,000, you troop. Sanity. Teach the heavy. Verse 7 pastor, both 1:9 no one. Or better, or only I can't almost say, or so Brahman 9. Send man who Brahman and more assassin so, and I say a poso, and I in the so. Any move before or free a boy ever. Now, some of one edit and they can see a team actually about 1:9 why I go 2 minutes one assassin, and then a pono said. Mamma will have assassin any apple, any near, because she said, the person of and what my choice. Simple. And you know, and so I don't know, 144,000. And a year. And you know, Sam for the patrol, see her, he said, it will be a possible way, not many young I have credits and see her. Revelation 18:1-5, Sam petition 81-5. There were a independent, a better as one. One more every 81 only. Now, one assembly effort in the November 5, 1809, paragraph 7, remember. I said, we are living in the last days, and the generation that is to witness the final destruction has not been left without warning of the hasty judgments of God. Says the apostle, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is falling, and it become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and evil bird. And I heard another voice, not to us, say, Come out of there, my people. Now, whatever we do, or seek for his sins are great unto heaven. And Pacho, Revelation chapter 18, verse 1. And upon the table said, as shall see 2001, that is the destruction of the Twin Towers. Every year, now we know what we will and shall see. As shall say, Breno, ye the most ideal, ye go ya see me, ye I repeat. Ye the Revelation chapter 18, verse 1. Said some event in Asia. Mepacho San along with us one, you don't be as a priest at September 11, 2001. I want to assure a temple sad event. Your best transit you will see we are saving, we are saving. And the sound for so we are saving, we are to buy. Now they are going through. I never said, ye grew, baby, and I'm percent almost ever. Any tear when I go present, we are saying a good yes, and yes, yes, saying, thank you. And you know, ye yes, to buy. I will share this to buy. You want me every also. And we said, they say, you want at the phone, Christo, or not a part at the phone. And I will plan, I say, let us try with all our power that God has given us to be among which people? To be among who? There we go. And the Mosinian Omode said, I'm not in here, I'm going to my yellow. Young one, you are near 144,000. Sanity. And all of us will say, it is not the will, it is not his will that they should get into controversy over persons which will not help them spiritually, such as who is opposed the 140,000. But see, and then I will person a penna, never touching them, one that come, and one that come. Here no name business. Here, also this, those who are the elect of God will in a short time know without question. A true one. What I have come sentence as a bishop did. And we said, a cry will win, enter the police of her. Prison so bad, or the family man now. And you know, I know they see I'm a purpose also. So, I was one in sending her after 8 years. And I was saying, now, what can it be? This is what you think what the action of what they were. Then, how? I mentioned I was working, sending her 8 years. 9 years old, empire. Oh, say, yeah, you. And I say, the high. So, no one said, what in time I'm only in 3 years. And to one, what no one was sent who put me back. Here, we get my body, you want the grass. 9 years old, you're happy. Or say, I'm going to be. It's a way to be excellent quality. I come. Fine. Empty. We are living in the time of the silly. So, I don't think I don't hear say, yeah, remember 1, 2 more videos now being meeting my mercy. There we go. And now they can't wait to this. But as I said, why not 2021? Once again, it's near some others 2022. But on the last one, and I think it is maybe right. 6th August 2022, remarks by President Biden at signing of H.R. 5376, the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. H.R. the House of Representatives, number 5376, Biden was signed. Now, government announced they were signing the friend of the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 by the assignment and Rabbi. See.
News Special Report. Now reporting, David Mueller.
Good afternoon. We're coming on the air because President Biden is about to sign into law that massive health care, climate, and tax bill called the Inflation Reduction Act. It is a hard-fought victory for the president, bringing down prescription drug costs, the largest investment in addressing climate change in U.S. history, raising taxes on corporations, lowering the deficit. Let's take a look at the scene at the White House dining room right now. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer talking. He will introduce the president.
And smiling. And finally, and most importantly, thank you, President Biden, for your leadership. This has been a long and grueling process. We wouldn't be here without you. A year and a half ago, you laid out the groundwork for this bill. And like us, you persisted every single day, working closely with my team in our caucus for more than a year to get this bill done. The president deserves tremendous credit for this moment. He knew precisely when to step in and when to let negotiations play out. He knew when to use the bully pulpit and when to bring people together away from the spotlight. He made sure we never lost our focus on climate. The president's vision, his dedication to our country, and it's his experience who made this moment possible. Thank you.
And now, I'm going to take action that I've been looking forward to doing for 18 months.
There you have it, the president of the state dining room, about to sign legislation that he joked he never had a doubt that we know inside the White House they certainly had doubts about whether this would ever cross the finish line. You see Joe Manchin there, left-hand side of your screen, on board in the end, not called Build Back Better, called the Inflation Reduction Act. Smaller in many ways, though historic when it comes to climate change, lowering prescription drug costs, lowering healthcare costs. It's going to sign that bill, that $740 billion bill.
What I didn't view, the next few days after 18th August, or 16, I get 17, I get 18, Roman Catholic and say, or say then, historic climate law signed by Biden has Catholic fingerprints all over it. They shall carry the document into a central cell. If the White House, the whole document almost say in America, abandoned to document they said HR 5376, I am friend of the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. And about design. Roman Catholic proper act almost said the about design a climate law. Also, some of the only thing. So, I'm not saying a climate law that they could have Catholic fingerprints. Now, I'm already I can them. Or see, finally, this landmark bill comes down too soon. Susan Dunn, Director of the Maryland Office for Global Concern, said in a statement, referring to the heat waves, wildfires, and flooding this summer across the country and much of the world, the cry of the earth, which Pope Francis caused us to heed in his Laudato-Si encyclical, finally was heard in the halls of Congress. Hallelujah. Was said, as Senator Province Akano, and Friend Prakrano, Abepi, America, and Macedonia. A pure assignment. And an open view of cancer. Catholic fingerprints were all over the Inflation Reduction Act and its massive climate investments. And the idea sign also a kind of fingerprint and quarter. And then not be the original fingerprint to look at it. Now the Maronia.
By fingerprint technology, we showed you a surveillance video back in July of this armed masked man right there. You see him attempting to rob a St. Pete 7-Eleven. ABC News reporter Isabel Rosales shows us the tech advancement helping put suspects now behind bars.
A masked man threatens a clerk with a knife.
He's definitely got nerve. The robber lunged at the clerk.
It happened at Anthony Gates 7-Eleven on Park Street North in St. Pete last month. The would-be robber got away with nothing, and despite wearing gloves, he left behind fingerprints on the bicycle he abandoned.
You gotta be pretty stupid to try to rob a 7-Eleven in the first place.
St. Pete police identified the prints of Travis Watson, but he was already sitting in jail for something else. A month before that, the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office says he entered the hotel room with 2 sleeping women at Madeira Beach and stole their purses, leaving prints there too.
3 years ago, this smudged print likely wouldn't have been able to be identified via the software, but with recent
Bible said, Abraham now, of course, we are here. When TV, or young guy, Jimmy, bicycle, the boy, so we go here, was one. When TV, okay, bicycle. And the natural. I don't go far. Fingerprint experts. How many camera? Ever 2 bicycles. Nipani bicycles. Then some of the show bicycles. And different amount of be after bicycles out into almost car. And only on the fingerprints. I will go far machine. Or when you go far machine, America pay the money of building everything.
By fingerprint technology, we showed you a surveillance video back in July of this armed masked man right there. You see him attempting to rob a St. Pete 7-Eleven. ABC Action News reporter Isabel Rosales shows us the tech advancement helping put suspects now behind bars.
A masked man threatens a clerk with a knife.
He's definitely got nerve. The robber lunged at the clerk.
It happened in Anthony Gates 11 on Park Street North in St. Pete last month. The would-be robber got away with nothing, and despite wearing gloves, he left behind fingerprints on the bicycle he abandoned.
You gotta be pretty stupid to try to rob a 7-Eleven in the first place.
St. Pete police identified the prints of Travis Watson, but he was already sitting in jail for something else. A month before that, the Pinellas County Sheriff's
America, they are over 300 million. What the young said, a man who a man 1 billion, a man 1 billion. And a man over 100 billion America. They are paying Papa. Nobody fingerprints after machines. I am one who said, I ran to your house. The person, a chance said, people will be in the as or more the same fingerprints. Or be here. And then they say, America say, the Biden assign. And then they say, Roman Catholic say, the Biden assign or fingerprint errors. How many Biden is it fingerprint? We never bring the image of the beast. And so, you know, most say they were signed or most signed the gospel. Or one of us signed. And you know, what's the number and signed? Go away to a climate law. Some climate law, I don't know what it is. Or it's a country. So, and no way now, concerning Roman Catholic. That way you must. You know, as a Canadian, so we are over that 20 days away. Then what? In the crack, now I'm a woman, after now one anti mass. And to almost someone said here, when I was there. And if so, there's one head. All the way, all around. When I go home, I'll be in my amen. And the way you get me. So much. You may not put that here. There was a year, man. Simple. Like I said, ye by the year, school, and why it now and my. They have to say it's fine. I do whatever. Also, now what I am, what I am. said the money across. The idea only in your woman, but if please have the way. Only I'm just saying, we are marching to Zion. You are prosperous. And send Israel. Israel wants now is ready for a time. Abraham said, Jacob, let the man ever say for 2 ages. Now you will do no way to Israel. At least over 100 years, no way you will walk. Then once upon a time, that would be after be CV. After be somewhere now. And you don't be I told away. I say the baby. Yes, yes, one baby. They were calling them. Everybody was a bit to even go back. And we hear them my own yes. He said, yeah, and the one year, I can't say any one. The one year, drop it. So simple. And the one that only be young, any year, young. And the woman young, or by the strength, whom Namil Namau. Dear, a so called person, men will so tired. And wow, amen. Now we'll try it. Now, all my example, will run like one fact. Almighty, the Almighty God is you, Almighty, yes, amen. Amen.